previous video. This time I dressed up as the victim of the vampire in the previous video. Hence, she has the neck bites, and since she's a new vampire, she's been feeding a little bit more. Now, if you have been enjoying the video, please do remember to like and subscribe. I appreciate it a lot. It helps me try to achieve my dream to become monetized on this channel. That would be so freaking cool. And so for today, we will be yet again reading a r/nosleep series of This Morning the doors to our apartment complex were welded shut. I'm starting to think that it was a good idea. Part 2 and part 3. Yeah, it seems like you guys prefer the r/nosleep series videos over one-off stories, so I thought to do more of these. Please let me know down in the comments how you feel about this. Anyways, if you're ready, turn down the lights real low, down low, almost blackness, and put on some headphones and just immerse yourself in the horror. Let's get into it. I'm still here, still alive, so that's good. Still locked in, and I'm starting to doubt whether I'm as protected as I thought I am. Today was the day when we were planning to try to leave this place, but with everything that happened, I don't think we'll be leaving anytime soon. The water and electricity are still working, which is surprising. It might be that not the whole town has been evacuated, or that there's some skeleton crew left to take care of the necessities. Just to prepare for everything, I fill the bathtub with water in case it stops running or something happens to the pipes. I'm also eating only perishable goods for now. The rest can wait. I guess I'll clear out the refrigerator first and switch to grains and potatoes afterwards. The phones aren't working anymore, and neither is the internet without the VPN. I guess it would be smarter to turn it off completely, but someone at the local ISP office is either not very smart or has left this window of opportunity to people like me. On the day that it all started, everyone in the building has been trying to contact the police. I remember that on the first day you could hear them all through the walls, cursing that they wouldn't pick up the phone, or begging to come help us when someone did pick up. At first, the police were seemingly shocked that when they learned that we were still here, but they then told us how it was. Nobody was coming to rescue us. It would be all over soon. We just had to stay put. When people started calling their relatives, the phones were suddenly switched off and had stayed silent since then. So I guess the higher ups don't want us to spread panic. Perhaps the rest of the country is not even aware of what's going on here. I'm not surprised. Our politicians have a long history of keeping the catastrophe under the wraps. The beast has been very active on the first day, though I hadn't seen it. I heard later from the rumors that one of the tenants had seen it lurking beneath his windows. We'd occasionally hear its roars and screeches, and every time I could hear the entire building falling silent to hone in on its sound and determine how far away it is. We couldn't hear it on Saturday. Only a few car alarms had been set off, implying that something still lurks there. And on Sunday, for now, let's just say that we didn't see him during the day. All of this had led people to believe that this whole thing is going to be over soon. Although on the first day, everyone was staying in their apartments. On the second day, people started going out. People were walking up I never seen these people getting so social. Usually they just give you a death stare. I could hear the clanking of plates and cups, whistling of kettles and jitters of the tenants as they were gathering into groups. I can understand them. Even the soldiers on the front lines of World War II had reported how unbearable the boredom was when nothing was happening. Plus, it's been instilled into us to stick together in times of hardship by the very nature. So realizing that it wasn't a good idea to spend my days alone, I decided to pay a visit to the only friend I had within these walls, Nikita, who lived on the 5th floor. We'd been buddies since the day I moved in. He noticed me when I was entering my apartment and invited me for some tea. He was a swell guy around my age and was a casual tabletop gamer. We spent many evenings playing Monopoly and Jackal in the past with him and his girlfriend. It was her who opened the door, and I instantly recognized from the look on her face something was very wrong. Nikita was staying at his friend's home the night before it all started. Natasha explained. He was supposed to come home in the morning. We took a day off for Friday and we were supposed to go out of town, but he didn't make it in time. She didn't cry, though looking in her eyes I realized that she had for many hours. I could tell that she could use my support, so I invited myself in. Over a cup of tea, she shared with me that she was feeling scared for him. She was afraid that he was close to the building when the sirens started wailing, and that she had nightmares where black hands were dragging him into darkness. She shared with me that she had heard that someone could get in on a Friday morning and that she was afraid that it was him. So I reassured her that it wasn't the case. As I was there, I heard the victim's voice and I'd be able to tell if it was Nikita. That brought her some relief, but she was still stressed. I can't sleep very well since then, she told me. I wake up in the middle of the night, hearing footsteps above. I keep hoping that it's him, but I know that it's not the case. On my way back from Natasha, I've met the man who had claimed that he was a professional welder. He was carrying a box of tea to his neighbors. Curiosity got the best of me, so I struck up a conversation with him, hoping to learn if something about those welds could tell him something about the welder.
It's all over the place, he informed me. The welds are mostly fine, so I can tell that whoever did that knew what it was doing, but they are really messed up in other spots, especially at the corners. And there was a lot of slug left. Whoever did that was probably in a hurry and drunk.
His hands seemed to be trembling. I can't stop thinking about it. The perpetrator is somewhere in this building. I know it. There are 4 separate flights of stairs, 5 floors, 4 apartments on each floor, grouped around the stairway. So 80 apartments in total. If I go by elimination, I'd be eventually able to find him. It's not like I have anything better to do at the moment. I've spent a good hour examining the door, trying to spot some clues. All I found is a cigarette butt that may not even belong to him. A Russian brand, Soyuz Apollo. Really nasty stuff, makes you cough your lungs out. I might take a look at the paint cans mounted on each flight of stairs. The improvised ashtrays. Maybe I'll find something this way. Some people don't have the luxury to just kick back and pursue some personal quests like I do. They genuinely need to get out. next door is just across the road from our building. He complained to me. I can see it from my window. They were supposed to bring in a new batch on Friday morning, but when I came downstairs, the door had already been welded shut. His last sentences intrigued me, so I asked how early did he try to leave the building. It was 6 a.m., son, he informed me. The pharmacist told me that the truck with insulin was going to arrive at 9 a.m., but I thought I might get in the line early to make sure I get enough. This has left me very heartbroken, but it also gave me a clue. The perpetrator must have finished what he was doing before 6 a.m., and if that old man in need of insulin was able to get up onto the roof, surely the mysterious perpetrator could do the same. That would allow him to weld all of the doors shut from within. Perhaps it was even him who was waking up Natasha at night, or maybe someone else. I didn't want to jump to the most horrible conclusion right away. If something was crawling on the roof, it wouldn't miss its chance to go inside the building. Unless it is already here, hiding in one of the apartments. They were dogs that we could make a break for it, make a rope out of bed sheets, hang it from the window, and then get down from the second floor's window, one by one, and then head to the other side of town. We were acting like a group. Today was the day we were going to set this plan in motion, but it didn't come to be. Last night I awoke from a sudden sound. When I opened my eyes, it was already over, but I knew what I'd heard. The scream, the howl, similar to the one that beast produced, only somewhat different. I lay in the dark with my eyes open, waiting for it to repeat, but there was only silence. I heard footsteps above. It seemed that I wasn't the only one who'd been woken up by it. Getting up to my feet, I glanced at my phone. It was 3 a.m. I tried going back to sleep, but I couldn't keep my eyes closed. The howl, the implication of it were keeping me awake. Deciding that I'm not going to sleep anyway, I got up and headed for the balcony. Oh, hey there. My neighbor Maxim startled me. His balcony was a few meters away from mine, and he also decided to go out for a smoke. Even though it was a November night, he was wearing only his underpants. You heard that too? He pointed at the forest with his cigarettes. I nodded. Yeah, you think it's back? Didn't sound like it. Maxim confirmed my suspicions. It sounded different, like a different breed or something. Yeah, I thought so too. You mind passing me one? I asked Maxim, and he threw me the entire pack. Take it. You might need all of them. Before taking a cigarette, I glanced at the pack. Soyuz Apollo. My curiosity spiked, but I quenched it. I didn't want to think about that at the moment. We smoked in silence for some time, then Maxim spoke again. Everything's in chaos in the building. Everyone is scared. We ought to do something about it. Like what? I wondered. I don't know yet. Maxim shook his shoulders. But it's our responsibility as men. You get me? We have to. He fell silent as a branch broke somewhere below. Something was moving down there. I only looked in time to see something big entering the forest, and my blood ran cold. It was standing there throughout all of our conversation, and neither me nor Maxim noticed it. We were merely chatting as the beast below was hiding its time, listening to our voices. Holy, have you seen it? Maxim loudly whispered. I didn't. searched my pockets for a phone, pulled it out, turned on the flashlight, and pointed at the forest. At the very next moment, I shuddered and dropped it, catching it at the very last moment. I was not ready to see something like that. The phone's flashlight was not particularly powerful, so the cone of the light quickly dissipated, and yet some of the photons had found their way between the branches deep into the forest to reflect from the beast alone a giant eye the size of a small bladder and traveled back to me. At that short moment, I was unwillingly participating in a staring contest with it. Something told me that I was the first man to do so and walk away to tell about it. So now we know that it never left. It was always there, biding its time. It's not leaving, and neither are we. People are back to their apartments, and the stairwell is almost empty. On my way to Natasha, some old woman opened a door to give me a death stare.
What the hell are you stalking around here? Everybody tense as it is. They don't need you creeping around here making noise.
Today, Maxim knocked on my door. He told me that all able men were organizing into Milita and offering me to join him. I decided that it's the best to agree. If all able men were grouping up, I'd be wise to stick with them, even if it mean that I'd be the building first line of defense. Plus, I'll be able to keep my eyes on Maxim. Part 4. The beast has become more stealthy. We don't hear its roars anymore, but sometimes after spending hours looking at the windows, I can see it lurking behind the branches in the forest. I'm convinced that it came from the forest now. It feels like at home there, spending the majority of its time there, surfacing only to take a glance at us to check if it were still there. My fridge is already empty. Even with me rationing the food, it ran out much quicker than I expected. Luckily, I still have my grains and potatoes. Most of the old people don't seem to be complaining. I can understand why. With them surviving on their pension, they learn how to stretch the food until the next month. Plus, they are old and their knees are weak and brittle. They can't afford to go out for groceries every day, so they wait until they learn about some sale somewhere and then go there to stock up for a month, even if said sale is on the other side of the town. They are probably stocked up for a few months ahead. I can't stop thinking about it. The tap water starts to taste funny too. I'm glad I filled my bathtub to be ready for something like that. Some people are warning everyone not to drink it, and I hear all kinds of rumors as to why we shouldn't. From it having some drugs mixed into it, being poisonous to take care of everyone. Personally, I don't think it's anything like that. The pipes had probably gone bad over the last week since they weren't looked after. Maxim has started organizing the Milita. So far, it's very small and we patrol only our flight of stairs and the roof, but he'd started to try and convince people from the neighboring ones to join us as well. He sounds very convincing, and I can see why people are joining him. It gives them back the illusion of control, even though we don't have anything except for makeshift weapons like sharpened brooms, knives, or, in my case, a hatchet for meat. People are now less scared to leave their apartments again. They trust us, I guess. It reminds them of the old times when volunteer militia on the streets that looked after the neighborhood were a common thing. However, not everyone is willing to join his cause. The furthest flight of stairs to the right gave us a rather cold shoulder when we descended from the roof to tell them about our idea. We were greeted by a bunch of men. Some of them were obviously drunkards, with their Maxim said, staring at the man. We were all in danger and we need to stick together.
We can look after ourselves,
The man replied, pulling a gun from behind his belt. For a moment,
and we don't need anyone snooping around either. Now scram back to your corner, you bunch of idiots.
I felt Maxim's hands on my shoulder. He was tugging at me, letting me know that it was time to go. I felt sick that the man could talk like that to us and get away with it, but there was nothing I could do.
Bring some girls next time,
One of the men shouted as we were leaving, and the crowd laughed. Well, Maxim said on our way back, it seems like we have a hatter there. When he met my confused gaze, he explained, it's the place where the criminals gather after they have served their sentence to celebrate. Seems like a bunch of them got caught here with us, and they don't seem like it affected them. They seem to be partying all day long, which means soon they will be out of food. I don't envy their neighbors. Maxim is a nice guy. I'm still not sure if he's the mysterious welder who had locked us all in. The only clue I have is the brand of cigarettes he gave me, and it's a stretch to think that he's the only one in the entire building who smokes them. While they are not exactly common, I've seen people smoke them plenty of times. I've tried talking to him about what he thinks about the identity of the welder. Who could it be, and why he did do that? And why did he do that? And while he was talking, I was looking at his face to spot something. If we were to get nervous, it would be a dead giveaway. But his face remained straight the entire time, and he would even get some joy out of speculating about who could it be and what were their motives. Either he was a very good liar or it just wasn't him. After that, Maxim had me check the basement to see whether we could escape through the sewers or if something could find its way in through them. Truth be told, I was scared to go down there. The concrete walls covered in moss and cobwebs stretched from wall to wall weren't exactly reassuring. But what really scared me were the tiny windows along the walls. They were too small to crawl through. I would barely be able to fit my head in if I tried, but I was still afraid that something could find its way in. The basement ran under all of the building, with all flights having a door leading down there, so it was hard to find the hatch that led down to the sewers. When I finally found it in the far corner of the basement, I experienced a mix of emotion. It was also welded shut, which meant that nothing could get in through it, but also that nothing could get out. Over the last few days, we'd started hearing gunshots in the distance. It sounds like a machine gun, and I doubt anyone in our town has one. Maybe the police have a few AK-74s. Sometimes it almost sounds like there's a war going on in the distance. It fills me with hopes that we're going to be rescued soon. But I can't help but wonder, what are they shooting at for so long? I doubted the beast outside could soak in so much ammunition. Aside from that, not much happened during that time. One day followed another, and I spent the majority of the time with Natasha. We could both use some distraction from the world piercing scream of the beast somewhere very close. The man grabbed the rope and started climbing up. He made it about halfway when his weak arms gave out and he fell to the ground. Old and frail, he was unlikely to make it, even if it was a malnourished and weakened by this disease. He slowly got up, rubbing his hip, and tried climbing up again when the creature showed its head around the corner. I could finally see it with my own eyes, and it was beyond my wildest expectation. It was clear that whatever it was not from this world. Its front legs were thick and burly, ending with paws with long fingers that looked disturbingly similar to human fingers. The hind legs were much shorter and once again, parodying human nature, looked very similar to human legs. All of his body was covered in black, long, thick fur, except for its head, which was bald, exposing its grey skin. And at the center of its almost human-looking head, a single eye, wildly rotated, seeking out its target. It stopped on the old man, and the beast let out a low growl. The man was not giving up, trying to crawl up, but with his busted hip, he could barely crawl 1 meter above the ground, and his arm alone could not pull him up. The beast must have noticed that because it didn't rush at him. Instead, it took its time approaching him as if taunting the man's effort to escape it. When it was just 5 meters away, the man jumped back to the ground and tried to escape, but the creature covered the distance separating them in one quick leap. It raised its paw above him, clenching its fingers into a fist, and I looked away, but I still heard the wet splatter when its fist descended onto the man's head like a hammer, killing him instantly. At least he didn't suffer like the one before him. When I carefully looked out again, the creature and the man were both gone. The only proof that they had been there was a long bloody trail leading around the corner towards the forest. I thought that the day was eventful enough, but last night something else happened. I woke up from the sound that had haunted me for so long. That I wanted to know so much about it. The sound of someone welding something. I jumped out of my bed and listened. I was not sure where the sound was coming from, but when I looked out the window, I noticed the light coming from the roof above, somewhere from the direction where the criminals resided. I rushed out of my apartment just in time to see Maxim leave his own. He was wearing nothing but boxers, and I could see in his eyes that he was in a rush, just like me. He wanted to learn the identity of a mysterious welder. When we got onto the roof, the welder was already gone, but not before finishing what it had been doing. The door leading down to the criminal was now reinforced with a makeshift cage gate made out of stair railings. At that moment, I realized that the sound I'd heard before, the clanking of metal, was probably the welder working on the railing to give them the necessary shape. The mysterious welder that I'd been chasing for the past week was one step ahead of me. I now knew where he lived, and I couldn't get there. And even if I did find my way in, I'd have to deal with the criminals first. They let me know before that I was not welcome there. The burning question, however, was not who he was. What bugged me the most was why did he do it? What made him install the gate on the door leading to the roof? Perhaps there was something that we didn't know about. I thought that would be it as far as the bad news went, but this morning we found one of the tenants dead on the stairwell. There were no wounds on his body, but he was foaming at his mouth, and his skin had the nastiest shade of purple. I recognized his face problem of having too many witnesses to take care of itself spread the message people we care were still alive. To be continue. Hello. I love this series. I feel like I get to learn more about Russia and the way people live there and the attitude that the people have. It seems quite brute. The men are a little bit more maybe hardcore, but yeah, it's really interesting to read something a little bit more fantastical and less paranormal. It's like a nice change in pace. I hope you also feel that way. If so, do let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I hope you're asleep.